Hello and welcome to the Back Nine Report. We continue our countdown of the top 10 stories of golf in for 2021. And right now we're up to number eight. And here counting down along with Fred Altvater and Kieran Clark. Number eight is about the Solheim Cup and Team Europe winning it back to back. They won 15-13 over a young American team. So Kieran Clark, how about Team Europe retaining the Solheim Cup?
Well, I have to say, we have to take credit here on the Back Nine report because before the Solheim Cup, the United States were the favourites in the betting. People were favouring them at having home advantage. But we all liked the European team and how they set up under Katrina Matthew. We all predicted back in September that it would go in the way of Europe. And of course, that ultimately happened, which was great for us to actually, for the first time in a decade of this show, basically, to get something right. And we'll take some credit for that. But it was great to watch as well, not just because Europe won, but I think it was a fantastic event, a great showcase for women's golf and for golf as a whole. A great venue, Inverness, obviously a venue that Fred knows really well in Toledo, and just two great teams. And I think the European team was so well led. And yes, they may have lacked the big names as such, but I think they blended so well together on paper as a unit. And we looked at the performances of Leona Maguire in particular, who was just staggeringly good at the Solheim Cup. I mean, it was just a breathtaking performance. You got a hero's welcome back in Ireland. You literally a parade through the village. I mean, it was that much of a big story. She was so good. And of course, Matilda Castron as well, among so many others, contributed to just an amazing away victory. And it's hard to win away from home, as of course the men showed in the Ryder Cup for Europe. They were decimated, but the women, showed what was possible, and they were just fantastic. And Katrina Matthew, what a record as captain. She now bows out, of course. Suzanne Petterson will be the captain next time out, but Katrina Matthew won that amazing Ryder Cup, Solheim Cup at Glen Eagles 2 years ago, and then winning this one as well in just an equally dramatic fashion. So we had the drama, a great atmosphere, two great teams, so fantastic golf, and it went right down to the wire. And to me, it just continues what's been a really, really exciting time in the Solheim Cup. And I look at the last 3 or 4 Solheim Cups and compare them to the Ryder Cup. And quite frankly, the Solheim is by far the better event. I find it a much more enjoyable event to watch. To me, the Ryder Cup now has become a little bit too big for itself. It's now a bit too boisterous, a bit ugly in the crowd. It's too much beer swilling. It's a bit unfriendly. And to be fair, most of the recent Ryder Cup matches have actually been very one-sided, but the Solheim Cup delivers on drama, excitement. The matches are typically very tight. The last two have been just fantastic events, and this one was up there too. So yes, while Europe won and the US lost, I think ultimately it was a win for golf as a whole and the women's game in particular, because I think it was just a tremendous event, and I love watching it. It was one of my highlights of the year. The Solheim Cup 2 years ago was my pick of that year in terms of an event, 2019. This one is arguably up there as well. It's certainly my top 3 events of this past year in golf. And it just shows, Fred touched on in our previous video, looking at Jin Young Ko and Nelly Korda, about how the LPGA Tour has been heightened and it's developed so much over the past decade. The foundations were laid, and now we're seeing the fruits of that. We're seeing the amazing players and the great golf. And I think the Solheim Cup is benefiting from that too. We're seeing 2 fantastic teams, young teams, and just playing to a great standard. So to me, the Solheim Cup was a highlight of the year, not just because Europe won, Carlos, not just because we got it right, but because it was a great showpiece for women's golf. And the performance of Leona Maguire in particular will live long in the memory. I mean, that was Ian Poulter-esque on an even greater level. I mean, actually, it's even beyond Ian Poulter. It was just about as good an individual performance as I've ever seen from a golfer in a team event.
I have to agree. I think that also we all agree it might have been one of the highest quality play of Solheim Cups we have ever seen. I mean, it
Yeah.
was a 15-13, and Team Europe definitely rallied dominated that singles to keep the Americans quiet. And it went down to Matilda Castron to seal it there at the 18. It was amazing. Like you mentioned, we see new starts coming up there because there was a lot of new rookie players going there, and it was a rookie like Matilda Castron, Leona Maguire, a revelation there. We finally seeing her fulfilling that promise that we saw on her when she was the top amateur golfer in the world. So
Yeah.
Fred, definitely one of the greatest performances that we've seen in Solheim Cup, and that's what, like Kieran was saying, makes it so interesting every 2 years to watch it.
Well, and Curious alluded to the fact that we were right on picking the European team, but more importantly, we all three agreed on something that like never ever happens, right? Yeah, but just looking at it, we knew looking at it, the European team was made up of winners. They all won tournaments. They all went out to win. The U.S. team, Team America, they had about 3 or 4 really good players, but the rest of them, made a lot of money and they competed, but they had not really won that much. So that was what we kind of based that on. The final score, 15-13, as you said. But Carlos, this thing was over early. After the first session on Saturday morning, the Europeans were ahead a half point to 3.5. All the U.S. team could get was a half a point in that first session. It was pretty much over at that point. After the Americans did make a little effort, pulled within a couple of points heading into singles, but in the singles matches, the Europeans won 4.5 points in the first 6 matches. That was pretty much it on Monday to make it official. As I said, the European team was made of winners. The U.S. team was nice. They had some good players, but once you got past Nelly Korda, Daniel King, Lexi Thompson, the players earn a lot of money and top tens, but not hardware and trophies. The Euros, especially Emily K. Peterson, who just got her LPGA Tour card, by the way, yesterday. She finished in the top 45 at Q School to get her full LPGA credentials. So we'll be seeing her. And then Leona Maguire, gritty, ready to fight, just unbelievable stuff. But guys, for me, being able to be on that first tee at the Solheim Cup at Inverness on Saturday morning for that first session, that was one of the most enjoyable events I have ever had the pleasure to witness. It was exciting, and Toledo and Inverness should be very proud of the way this event was put on. Kudos to tournament director Becky Newell, her staff, and Judd Silverman, who actually brought this event to Toledo 5-6 years ago when they got the bid. He got all the sponsors to put the money up. He got Marathon involved to do it. It was just a tremendous community effort to get this thing done. You guys, it's really a big deal to do this and to be there and see it all come together. As I was walking off that first tee on Saturday morning, Judd Silverman was right there. And I said, Judd, congratulations for pulling. He was giddy. And he's a veteran. He runs the Marathon Classic is his, now the Dana Open. He's been doing it for 30 some years, right? But he was actually just excited like a little kid at Christmas for being able to see this thing be pulled off. It was really phenomenal.
And it's all the challenges that came with the post-pandemic thing and all this, seeing it to fruition, and such a great event. Definitely well put and well organized, and another one that we're going to be looking forward to seeing 2 years, the Solheim Cup. I can't wait for it. But anyway, that was our number 8, and we keep counting down. Number 7's coming up next, so watch it tomorrow. Thank you for joining us on this one. See you tomorrow.